The clip you're about to watch of this guy making fun of Jasmine Crockett is kind of like watching a David Attenborough documentary, but instead of endangered penguins, it's just a guy who's been divorced 3 times and sleeps at night in a tanning bed. And it's rare that one of these MAGA talking heads can somehow combine misogyny with just a little sprinkle of dehumanization and still manage to kind of make me hungry, but I guess this guy's just special.
Here's the deal. Her and AOC, really? These are the poster women representatives for the Democrat Party. Hey, good luck with that. You know, I'll buy you a tuna fish sandwich if you can pull it off. But I don't think it's going to happen. That's who she is. By the way, did you notice her in that soundbite T at the beginning when
the dance? Are you talking about
Alex?
the steak?
Yeah, the dance. She was like, "Come on, I'm ready for that." That was just, first of all, the fact that I just did it makes me feel very creepy about myself and weird. But the fact that she did it, oh my gosh. Oy.
If you're wondering who that guy is, I don't know. And I don't care. And neither should you. And don't let the whole, weird tuna sandwich line distract you from when he was like, yeah, if you want to consider AOC and Jasmine Crockett women. It's like, do you really want to be talking like that guy who looks like your kids don't speak to you anymore? If you want to make fun of Jasmine Crockett, you're going to need to do a little better than that, okay? You're going to need a wig and a costume, I guess, because the conservative comedy playbook is really more of a pamphlet.
If you were trying to conduct audits and figure out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is, I don't know why you would go to some tech guy. In fact, it was only techies that were sitting there at inauguration. We didn't have auditors. I would welcome auditors to come in and do forensic audits. In fact, he sat there in the Oval Office yesterday and he admitted that he was lying and he was using his propaganda machine to do it when he said that we sent millions of dollars to Gaza for condoms. That was a lie. So let me tell you something.
The gentlelady's time has expired.
It's time for
the
us
gentlelady's
to do our
time has
job
expired.
and rein in this rogue actor known
The gentlelady's
as
time has
I like how Terrence K. Williams, when he makes these videos where he's mocking people, he just lets them talk the whole time. So it's kind of like he's still amplifying their message somehow, you know? Like, I mean, I get it. It's so funny, you know? You got the fingernails. It's incredible. But someone eventually is going to be like, wait a minute. We lied about sending what to Gaza? You know, and if you're wondering, by the way, what exactly it was that Larry Leatherface was making fun of Jasmine Crockett for, you know, the tuna guy, the one that made fun of her and then made himself feel creepy, let's go ahead and just roll the footage. Let's see exactly what it was that Jasmine Crockett did that was so crazy.
If the Democrats take over after the midterms next year, the House and or Senate, do you think they're going to push for investigations into Trump's family and the whole crypto acquisitions that he is getting?
Well, Alex, I'm glad you asked.
Hey, I'll buy you a tuna sandwich if you can tell me with a straight face that what Jasmine Crockett is experiencing right there isn't just a delay. You know, the thing that happens during, every live television interview. And, you can see her get excited because she's excited about the possibility of going after the Trump family's crypto scams. And it's like, is this the best you guys have when it comes to making fun of Jasmine Crockett? That's a rhetorical question. Yes, it is. So what I would like us to do right now is actually listen to what Jasmine Crockett is saying, because I'm starting to get the impression that one particular political party really doesn't want us to do that.
Listen, so long as we end up taking the House, which I fully anticipate that we will do, and we are going to work hard to obviously help our Senate colleagues as well, then as someone who serves on the Oversight Committee and hopes to lead the Oversight Committee, I can guarantee you that we will do what we are supposed to do as constitutionally sworn members of the House, which means that we will conduct oversight. That means that we will investigate. We will look at whether or not this president himself has violated the emoluments clause as it relates to, say, such things as getting a $400 million plane from the Qataris.
Hey, I'll buy you a tuna sandwich if you can tell me why it's okay for a U.S. official to receive a gift from a foreign country without congressional approval. But surely that's the worst thing that the Trump administration has done, right, Jasmine? Jasmine, right? Jasmine, right? Right, Jasmine? Jasmine, right?
We also will make sure that we're looking into all these business deals that they have going on. I mean, think about it this way, Alex. They were going after Hunter because he sat on a board. Think about how much money they are raking in, whether we're talking about the next golf resort that they're setting up in Qatar, or whether we're talking about them leveling Gaza, as they've talked about how it would be great beachfront property, whether we're talking about this crypto scam, the scam that people didn't even want to walk into and show their faces. Let me tell you, there is no shortage of things for us to dig into and determine whether or not there have been not only violations of the law, but definitely violations of our Constitution as a whole.
Okay, so crypto scams, illegal gifts, violations of the Constitution, golf resorts in Qatar, widespread corruption, turning Gaza into beachfront property. Okay, well, maybe that's one reason the Republicans don't want people listening to Jasmine Crockett. I wonder what some of the other reasons are. Anyway, here's Crockett explaining that little Easter egg she left about potentially leading the Oversight Committee, a position that I think she would be fantastic at, which usually means that the Democrats will never let it happen. But hey, you never know, and it's fun to imagine.
Did you make a little news here? Didn't you say you hope to lead that committee?
I absolutely do. Unfortunately, we are going to lay our dear colleague, Jerry Conley, to rest here on Tuesday. And there will have to be an election to determine who is going to lead the Oversight Committee. And ultimately, I am hoping and praying that my colleagues see that I can provide what we need as a team to make sure that we can move forward and instill some confidence in the American people by knowing that they have a real fighter who will not back down, even in the face of all the threats that I will have waged at me, because Lord knows I get death threats every single day. But at the end of the day, I truly believe that God will never leave my side. And so I will fight fearlessly and ferociously for the American people.
And there you have it. Jasmine Crockett is a fighter who receives death threats every single day. My guess is those are at least partially inspired by the constant onslaught of unfunny and uncreative jokes levied at her expense by the right. In fact, I looked at some of the replies to that Terrence Williams post, where he's like, fingernails, it's crazy. And you're not going to believe it. They're incredibly hateful. It's almost like in order to fight this incredibly hateful and corrupt and anti-constitutional Trump administration, the Democrats might actually need to fight. In fact, here's CNN discussing that possibility as if it's a new idea.
When you speak to members like Jasmine Crockett, for instance, which I have, she'll say that if Democrats ever do regain power, they have to be more bold, that the rules of engagement have changed. We see President Trump bulldozing over our institutions in service of his desire for what he wants America to look like. And historically, you have heard Democrats say time and time and again, they just can't do it. They can't put farm workers, for instance, on a pathway to citizenship because they're beholden to the Senate parliamentarian. They can't raise the federal minimum wage because they need to work in concert with Republicans. Well, there's recognition from Democrats that this process argument is no longer sufficient for voters. They have to stand 10 toes down in what they believe, even if they have to buck process, even if they get pushed back.
Oh my gosh! Did you hear that? Someone call Chuck Schumer and tell him to put his tuna sandwich down right now and get on the phone, because we got big news for the Democrats, everybody. What's that? He can't talk because he's finding out what the American people want by talking to his imaginary middle-class friends? Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I do mention that anytime I possibly can, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, please Google it. It will make your day. Just Chuck Schumer, imaginary friends. I know it's not totally relevant, but I will keep shoehorning it in just whenever possible. But yeah, Democrats, maybe it is time to start fighting a little bit, because right now you have people like Jasmine Crockett who are willing to go toe-to-toe with the tan man. And you know it's working because all the GOP can do is make fun of her appearance and make fun of her mannerisms, which is what they always do whenever they see women speaking truth to power, or whenever they see women. That's the end of the sentence. But Jasmine Crockett is a highly intelligent, outspoken black woman. And those are adjectives that when you put them all together, they kind of make the MAGA mind short circuit a little bit. But they know that if they can make fun of her being outspoken, or they can make fun of her being black, or they can make fun of her being a woman, people will be less likely to listen to what she actually has to say, which is why we need a Democratic Party who will stand behind her. And I mean that metaphorically, not literally, in order to hide, Schumer. We can see you back there. Your glasses are sticking out past your face. okay? We need people who will stand behind people like Jasmine Crockett and AOC in order to amplify what they are saying. You know what I'm talking about? It's really not that complicated. I think we can actually do it, you know? Because Jasmine Crockett right now is one of the few Democrats who isn't acting like a scaredy-crat. I'm sorry. I read that. I read that in the conservative comedy pamphlet, and I thought I would try it out. Scaredy-crat is what is. I didn't think it would work either, but I was giving it a go. Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you guys think the Democrats should do a better job of standing behind people like Jasmine Crockett and AOC? And here's another question. Which of all of the issues that Jasmine Crockett is bringing to the forefront right now would you like to see the Democrats go after if they happen to win big in the midterms? I'm going to go with all of them. I will see you next time. It's just fingernails. So it's funny because the long fingernails. So shouldn't listen to what she has to say. The fingernails.